Shalom Yeladim. So since there is no Parashat this week, because we are reading Megillat Ruth on Shabbat, I thought it would be fun to read a story, a little bit of a silly story about Shavuot. We did talk about how we eat a lot of dairy on Shavuot because for the Shlosha Yemei Hagbalah, which we are in right now, the 3 days before we received the Torah, the Jewish people did not eat meat because they did not know how to properly make it kosher. So they took upon themselves to only eat dairy or powdered food during that time. So a lot of families take on the minhag of having dairy food. I love to have cheesecake on Shavuot, and also some other yummy special treats. We always like to have an ice cream party. But here we're going to hear about when I was growing up, there was something that a lot of people ate called blintzes. Maybe some of you will have that too, a yummy dairy food that a lot of people had on Shavuot. A mountain of blintzes. All year long, Sarah and Max worked hard. They fed the chickens, chopped the wood, planted the fields, and took in boarders to earn some extra money. Their children helped too, but no matter what, Sarah and Max never seemed to have enough. It was Mo, Sarah's oldest, who reminded her when Shavuot was but just 2 weeks away. He was learning about it in his school. Such an important holiday, said Sarah. When Moses went to the top of the mountain to meet Hashem and receive the laws, such a meeting. Can you imagine? Moses is an English word for Moshe. What a celebration we could have. What a mountain of blintzes I could make. If only there was a little extra money to spare. Sarah could just picture a big plate of stuffed pancakes. I'll have to come up with a plan, she said. Early the next day, Sarah thought of it. Maxie, she called, I've been thinking about blintzes. You make the best, he said. Not without buying the ingredients, Sarah said. Then she turned her purse upside down and shook it. Not a penny fell out. But don't worry, I have a plan. You and I will do extra work. Extra? Who has time for extra, Max repeated. It's only for 2 weeks, said Sarah. Mr. Epstein needs help building those new bungalows, and Mrs. Grossinger wants help with the washing. We'll put our earnings in the coin box every day, Sarah continued, and soon we'll have enough for blintzes. You agree? Max shrugged. Did he have a choice? The Torah is sweet, the blintzes are sweet, Sarah sang that afternoon as she washed Mrs. Grossinger's sheets. She winked at Natty. We have some blintzes to make, and soon. Blintzes, blintzes, a mountain of blintzes, Natty chanted. Ugh, what a boy. You remembered. A mountain of blintzes to make us think of the mountain Moshe climbed up. Up and down he went to bring us the Torah, the mitzvot. Sarah looked around. So noon, Natty? Where are the others? They should be home from school by now. Mo, Mo, Sarah shouted into the yard, and all the way to the woods. Come help hang the laundry, Mo. There was no answer. Bessie, Sarah called. Francie, Harry, where are you? Still no answer. No, where is everyone? Just when I need help, the children disappear. Later, after Sarah had collected her coins from Mrs. Grossinger, she stood all alone in the kitchen. Mo had finally come back home and was doing his chores, with Natty tagging along. Who knew where the others were? If they aren't home soon, they'll be doing their chores in the dark, Sarah grumbled. Sarah was just about to drop her coins in the box when a brilliant idea hit her. With Max putting in his money, there will certainly be enough for blintzes, she thought. He has more to spare than I do. I have to buy so many other things. There's candles for the holidays and material to make the children new summer clothes. So Sarah, very pleased with herself, put her coins into her purse instead. Max was heading home from Mr. Epstein's. The coins he had earned painting the bungalow jingled in his pocket. He waved to Mrs. Katz, who was taking the cakes out of her bakery windows. Then he stopped in Mr. Fitzgerald's grocery to ask if he needed any more eggs to sell. Up the hill and down the road, past the dairy and the Friedman's house, and Max was home. Max waved to Sarah, who was outside helping Mo stack wood for the stove. "What a wise wife I have," he said to himself as he went inside to put the coins in the box. Max could almost smell those tasty blintzes, but he hesitated for a minute and was struck by an idea such a genius might have. With Sarah putting in her coins, we will surely have enough for the blintzes, he thought. Sarah has much more to spare than I do. I have to buy wine for the holiday, and all the children need new shoes. So Max, very pleased with himself, put his coins back into his pocket and went outside to help stack wood. Every day the same thing happened. Sarah stood by the box ready to drop her coins into the slot. But then she thought of all the things she needed. She thought of Max dropping his coins in, and each day she put her coins into her purse instead. Every day when Max stood by the box, he thought of all the things he needed to buy. He imagined Sarah putting her coins in, and each day he dropped his coins back into his pocket. After supper one day, Sarah made the announcement. "It's time to open the coin box." Mo, Bessie, Francie, Harry, Nadie, and Max ran over to the counter where the box stood. Max had a dreamy look, as if when Sarah opened the box, a mountain of blintzes would cascade out, already cooked and sprinkled with sugar, ready to eat. Never had the house been so quiet. Sarah reached into her pocket for the key. Then she opened the lid and gasped. Max looked in and gasped too. How could it be? "Not a penny?" said Mo. "You didn't put in any coins," Sarah said, turning to Max. "Not even one." "And where are your coins?" Max replied. "Not even one." "I needed them," Sarah said. "I thought that with your coins we would have enough of the blintzes." "And I needed mine," said Max. "I thought that with your coins we would have enough." Mo coughed. Harry shuffled his feet. Bessie and Francie giggled. "Giggle," said Max. "This is not a time for giggling." "They're up to something," said Sarah. "You remember how we've been so late coming home after school?" "I remember," said Sarah. "Well, Papa and I were doing extra work. We were off doing extra too," said Harry. "I helped Mr. Fitzgerald in his grocery for a sack of sugar," said Francie. "Mrs. Katz gave me a bag of her very best flour for sweeping her bakery," said Bessie. "I promised to pick berries for Mrs. Friedman's this summer," added Harry. "She gave them 2 jars of jam, and I worked in Mrs. Townsend's dairy, and he was going to give me all the cottage cheese and sour cream we need," said Mo. Sarah clapped. "Then we'll have our blintzes after all. See what smart children we have, Maxie, just like their parents," Max beamed. "Nadie helped?" said Nadie. "You'll help us make and eat the blintzes," said Sarah, and she gave him a big hug. When Shavuot came, there was a mountain of blintzes with a mountain of other good things. Candles and wine, not to mention also new clothes and shoes for the children. And Nadie helped spreading jam all over the blintzes and on his face and on his fingers. So Yeladim, why I read this story today is today it is Erev Yom Tov, okay? So your parents are getting ready for this holiday, and I don't think that you need to go work at the farmer's market or to go clean somebody's house, but I think that you can all find ways to help your family, like the children in this story did, in order to get Yom Tov ready. Whether it's helping with a brother or sister, or helping in the kitchen to clean something up, or sometimes just not sitting around going, "I'm bored," or saying, "I need help." Trying to find a way to find solutions to your problem on your own would be a humongous help to your parents, and I know much appreciated. I hope you all have a wonderful Yom Tov and you enjoy this time of receiving the Torah from Hashem.